Okay, I'm going to start again. Okay, so in most textbooks, we use the word combination interchangeably with selection. Okay, so an R combination of R na objects is an unordered na selection of R objects from the N na objects. Okay, so you can think of it like this. So we have a set containing A, B, C, and D. So this set contains how many elements? N equals 4. Okay, and our task is to select 3 na letters. Okay, and we are not concerned about the order. So in other words, if nag-select tayo ng ABC, so basically this will be equivalent to ACB, to BAC, to BCA, to CAB, or CBA. Okay? We are just concerned about, let's say, selecting this, we are selecting these letters. Okay? So we are not concerned kung which letter yung mauna, whether it is A, B, or C. So we are just concerned with the selection. So again, we deal with the unordered na selection of R na objects from the N objects. Okay? Do you get that? And next, what about for the permutation? So in most textbooks, we use the word permutation interchangeably with arrangement. So an R permutation of R na objects is an ordered na arrangement of R objects from the N na objects. Okay, so now we care about the order. So again, if we have a set containing A, B, C, and D, having N equals 4 na elements, and we are concerned about selecting 3 and with some order. So in contrast, sa combination kagina, this ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, CAB, and CBA are all equivalent, uncounted ones. But in permutation, these orderings are distinct because they have different na order. Okay? So this ABC and ACB is different, and these are also different from from the other na orders. Okay? Do you understand what I meant? So can you please summarize or your insights? Summarize what your insights that you have gained from the definitions? Can you type in the chat box, or maybe you can raise your hand? Yeah? Please don't be shy. Okay. How about... So according to Doreen, so permutation is associated with arranging things in a specific order, while combination refers to listing, not only listing, but selecting rather, or things or elements in any order. Yeah, that is correct. And according to Dara, it's an unordered selection, and permutation is ordered arrangement. So that is also correct. So thank you also. According to Julian, permutation is concerned with the arrangement of objects. Right. So it nagre-revolve lang siya in several words which are ordered, unordered, as well as the arrangement. Okay. So thank you for your participation. Let us move on. So by the rule of product, the permutation may be denoted as permutation of N taken R. So we can write this as permutation of N taken R. Okay, so and it is equal to the combination of N taken R times the permutation of R taken R. So anong ibig sabihin nito? We mentioned earlier that the combination does not care about the order, right? We just have to select So essentially what we do here is we just select R from N na distinct na objects. And after selecting R, we are going to arrange them. Okay? And that is permutation. Okay? So we select R from N and then we arrange R. So you can see that we have two tasks here and hence we can apply the product rule. So we first select R from N, select R na objects, and then arrange them. Okay, so for example, meron tayo kanina na list na A, B, C, and D. So you are tasked to, let's say, P of 4 taken 2. And so mangyayari is we have combination of 4 taken 2 is we must select first whatever that is. So for example, nag-select tayo ng A and B. Okay? And now, how many ways can we order A and B? So that will be P of R times R, or in this case, permutation of 2 times 2. So how many ways can we do that? That will be A times B and B times A. So yun. Okay? Mag-select muna tayo. And then how many ways can we select? So that is combination of N taken R. And after selecting this, so we are now concerned with the arrangement. So we are going to arrange this. So possible na mga arrangement niya. Okay? Hello. So do you understand what I meant by this, or how we have derived this formula? Permutation of N taken R equals the combination of N taken R times permutation of R taken R. Kuha ba? Any nagets? Okay. So maybe you have been forced to to okay, gets na lang po namin. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so again, selection and then arrangement. Now, we can also express it as the permutation of N taken R equals N factorial over N minus R factorial. Okay, so in other words, if meron tayo, let's say na 4 na objects and we are going to select 2, so this will be equivalent to N, which is 4 factorial divided by N minus R, which is 4 minus 2 factorial. So that will give us 4 factorial over 2 factorial, and that will be 4 times, and you know that the factorial is equivalent to 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, right? And then for the 2 factorial, so that will be 2 times 1. So this will be canceled out. So we will be left with 4 times 3, which is equivalent to 12. Okay, so that's it. So you have to remember this, the formula, the permutation of N taken R. So now, there is actually a more shorthand na formula for permutation of N taken R, and that is the P of N taken R, in which this is the number of ways to get R na objects of N objects in some order, and that is equal to N times N minus 1 times N minus 2 times N minus R plus 1, wherein this N is the number of ways to choose the first na object. The N minus 1 is the number of ways to choose the second na object. And the n minus 2 is the number of ways on how we can select the third na object, and n minus r plus 1 is the number of ways on how we can select the rth na object. Okay? So for example, meron tayong, for example, list of, meron tayong numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so n equals 7. All right, and we are tasked to select, let's say, 4 numbers from this set, 1 to 7. Right, so that will be basically equivalent to P of 7 given 4. Okay, so it said here that the first is there are n ways to select the first na number. Okay, so we can see that indeed it is correct. All right, so there are 7 ways. So assuming that the first na number selected is 3. Okay, so now we can cancel this out. Now we can cancel this out, right? So now how many ways can we select? How many ways can we select the second number? So there will be 6, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So assuming that the one selected was 5, so let's remove 5 and nakuha na siya. And now, how many ways can we select the third na number? So there will be how many? 5, right? So assuming na na-select natin si 7, so this will be canceled out. And how many ways can we select the fourth number? So there will be 4, right? So assuming that we select the number 2. Okay? So we are going to have 1 left na 1, 4, and as well as 6. Okay? So this is the formula. So we have 7, 6, 5 times 4. Wherein the 7 refers to the n ways, and then 6 refers to the n minus 1 ways to get the second. This one, it is equivalent to n minus 2, and this is also equal to n minus 3. Okay, so basically what happens is this is equivalent to n minus 1 minus 1. So that is equivalent to n. This is equivalent to n minus 2 minus 1. And then this is equivalent to n minus 3 minus 1. And this is equivalent to n minus 4 minus 1. Okay? Which is equivalent to n minus r plus 1. Okay? Or n minus r minus, minus pala to. N minus r plus 1. Alright? So, ayun. Gets nyo na? Nagets nyo ba yung, yung paano na-apply yung product rule? Any questions? Sa mga hindi nakagets, you can type in the chat box so I can re-explain it again. Yeah? Walang sumasagot. Does it mean na walang nakaintindi? Or were you able to get it? As in? So we cannot move on if walang sagot. Okay, so let me call on. So, Lian, so may I ask your understanding regarding this? Wala talaga? Okay. Ay, naku po. What about? Okay. Wala, ba't hindi? See, unstable pala yung connection nyo, tapos ngayon na kayo nagsabi. I have to re-explain it again. Sige. Let's try. Okay, let's do it again. Okay. Excuse me. So again, we have this permutation. Diba we have this formula earlier of permutation, correct? So the permutation of n taken r is basically equivalent to n factorial over n minus r quantity factorial. And this is another na formula, okay, by which it is using the rule of product, all right, in which the formula of permutation of n taken r is equal to n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times until n minus r plus 1, wherein the n is the number of ways in which you can choose the first na object. So let's have a different na example. So assuming meron kayo ditong star, and then heart, and then square, and then you have the diamond. Okay? So you were tasked, so meron tayong 4 shapes. All right? So, and I asked you to choose 2 shapes with specified na order. Okay? So, for the first na shape, how many ways can we select? How many ways can we select? There will be 4. Okay? Kasi we still have the star, the heart, the square, as well as the diamond. So this is basically equal to n. Right? So how about for the second shape? How many ways? So assuming na select na natin yung star. So basically may erase na to. Hindi na to siya magagamit. So for the second na position, we'll have 3 shapes left, or 3 ways to select the second na shape. So that is basically equal to n minus 1. Okay? So if we have more, for example, the 7 earlier, so until such time na n times n minus 1 times n minus 2, etc. Okay, so parang sinabi mo lang na if we have 7 factorial, if you have permutation of 7, 4, so that will be equivalent to 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 4 lang pala. Sorry. Okay? So pag sinabi na permutation of 5 taken 3, so that is equivalent to 5 times 4 times 3. Okay, wherein this one refers to the n. This is n minus 1, and this will be n minus 2. Okay, so n, 5, n minus 1, that is 5 minus 1, which is equivalent to 4. And this one is 5 minus 2, which is equivalent to 3. Okay? Nagets ba? Tama? Gets mo ba? Gets nyo na? So, balikan natin dito si P of 7, 4. So, paano yung n minus r plus 1? Paano yung r na position? So, kumbaga dito, paano to siya nakuha? Bakit siya n minus r plus 1? So this is basically your n minus r plus 1. Okay, so that is equivalent to 7 minus 4 plus 1, which is equal to what? 3 plus 1, that is equal to 4. Okay, fourth na position. All right. Okay, gets nyo na? So per shape, merong 3 pairs. So may 4 na shape na 4 shapes times 3 pairs. Okay. I don't get the question. Anyway, let's move on. So going back, so if there are n distinct na objects and r is an integer with r greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to n, then by the rule of product, the number of permutations for size r for the n objects is n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 until n minus r plus 1 for the rth na position. Okay? So how do we relate this to the formula of permutation P of nr, which is equal to n factorial divided by n minus r quantity factorial. So, paano siya naging equal? How are they? How are they equivalent? Okay? Paano siya naging equal? So this actually is derived from the definition of n factorial itself. So when we have the n factorial, it is equivalent to this. This is equivalent to the n factorial. And while the denominator is equal to the n minus r quantity na factorial. Okay? So paano, what does this mean? When actually cancelable itong last na part. Okay? That's why we are left with this equation na lang siya. So for example, kanina meron tayong going back to P of 7 given 4. Okay? So gagamitin natin yung n factorial over n minus r. So that will give us 7 minus 3. 7 minus 4 factorial. So that will be 7 factorial divided by 3 na factorial, right? So we will have 7 times 6 times 5 times 4, right? And times 3 factorial divided by the 3 times 2 times 1 or just the 3 factorial. So you already know that this is basically equivalent to this one, to this part, right? Na-discuss na natin yan. But then, we have this, by the definition of n factorial, so we still have this 3 factorial and the 3 factorial that we could cancel out. Okay, so basically, ano lang siya, this last part is just a continuation of the natural na numbers. Okay? So, yung 3 factorial, which is equivalent to 3 times 2 times 1, wherein you can see dito, no? Na you can see it here. This part, yung na-cancel na part as well. Okay? So, ito yung, kumbaga, the 3 factorial as well as the 3 factorial that was cancelled. Alright? Kuha nyo ba? Or is it a bit difficult to get? Gets nyo? So kung isipin, ganito siya. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So this will be n minus 1, n minus 2, and then this will be the n minus 3, n minus 4, n minus 5, n minus 6. Okay? And then divided by the 3 times 2 times 1. The 3 times 2 times 1, in which this case, this one is in which this one is n minus r, n minus r minus 1. And this one is n minus r minus 2. Basta, you get it. You get it na. And then, makakancel na lang itong last and last. Okay? So, we are left with 7 times 6 times 5 times 4, which is equivalent to this part. Okay? Okay. So, anyway, that's the proof. And ito lang naman yung need nyo na i-remember. This formula as well as this na formula. And once you understand the gist of this formula, and then basically madali nilang mag-compute ng mga problems. Right? So let's have one example. So para maliwanagan kayo. Okay, so how many ways are there to select a first prize na winner, a second prize na winner, and a third prize na winner from 100 different people who entered the contest? So we have 100 people here, and we are concerned about selecting the first prize and then the second as well as the third. So for the first na position or the first prize na winner, there are still 100 people that we can select from. Okay, so that is N, right? And then next would be, since nakaselect na tayo ng first prize na winner, we will have 99 people left to select the second prize na winner, and that is N minus 1 for for selecting the next second prize na winner. And then for the third prize, we will have the N minus 2, in this case, the 98 na ways to select the third prize na winner. So that is equivalent to 970,200. So when we use the formula naman, so that is basically the P of 10 given R. So that will be 100 factorial divided by 100 minus 3 factorial, correct? So that will have 100 times 99 times 98 times 97 factorial divided by, so 100 minus 3 factorial is 97 factorial. So this will be canceled out. So we will be left with 100 times 99 times 98, which is also equivalent to 970,200, which is equal to this part. Okay? Gets ba yung yung solution? Nakuha niyo ba yung solution? Okay. Excuse me. Sige. Okay. And then let's move on to another example. So there are 8 runners in a race. So the winner receives a gold medal. The second place finisher receives a silver medal. And the third place receives a bronze medal. So how many different ways are there to award these medals if all possible outcomes of a race can occur and there are no ties? So it's very similar to the previous example. So we just have to select these 3 people in order since na meron tayong gold, silver, and then the bronze. So basically we have N ways to select the first winner, which is equivalent to 8. Since we have already selected the N winners, we have N minus 1 or 7 ways to select the second place winner, and N minus 2 ways or 6 ways to select the third placer. And this is equivalent to 336. And again, when we compute it using the P, N taken R, so that will be 8 factorial divided by 8 minus 3 factorial, which is equivalent to 8 factorial divided by 5 factorial. So 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 factorial divided by 5 factorial. And this is cancelled out. And we are left with 8 times 7 times 6. All right. So now, for example 3, suppose that a saleswoman has to visit 8 different cities. So she must begin her trip in a specified city, but she can visit the 7 other cities in any order that she wishes. So you can see here in any order. So how many possible orders can a saleswoman use when visiting these cities? So you can see the answer here. It's actually permutation of 7 taken 7. So why do you think it is permutation of 7 taken 7? How did we arrive to this formula or solution? Any idea? Anyone? So can I call on Aba, may nag-leave. Jala? Bakit siya permutation of 7 taken 7? Wala. Alvin, bakit kaya siya permutation of 7 taken 7? In any order? Kasi, we are, since na, di ba meron tayong 8 cities? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one is city 1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8. So this city 1 is already specified, okay? Or predetermined siya. So we are only concerned with the order of the rest of the cities from C2 to C8. So these are a total of 7 na cities. So for example, nag-una tayo sa C3. So tatanggalin na siya. So there were 7 ways. So now, how many cities left? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 6 cities left. So tatanggalin, let's say natin si C5. So okay na si C5. So now, ilang cities na lang ulit for the fourth city na i-visit niya? So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5 pala. 5. So assuming si C8 ito, so tanggalin na siya. So we will be left with 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 hanggang sa maubos lahat. Okay? So that's the idea. Right? So now let's move on to another example. So how many permutations of the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H contain the string ABC? So yung gagawin natin dito ay we will be putting parang placeholder for ABC. So kumbaga, let's say the placeholder is this one. And then we have D, E, F, G, and H. So how many permutations of the letters contain this string? So this will be also be 6 na factorial because we will be counting this string na ABC as 1. Okay? So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, for the first na position, so it could either be ABC or D or E, F or G or H. So that will be 6. So once we have selected 1, we have 5 left to select, letters to select. And then, since we have already selected 2 letters, in which it could either be the ABC or the other letters, so 4 na lang. And then times 3 times 2 times 1, and we will this is equivalent to 6 factorial. And there are 720 ways on how we can order the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H containing the string na ABC. Okay? Excuse me. Gets ba? Kuha naman. Okay. Okay, thank you. Buti pa si Julian. Naka-gets daw siya. How about for the others? Sige, it's better na you don't just keep to yourself the difficulties kasi kayo din mahihirapan later sa exam. Right? So, ayan. If you don't understand anything, so you are free for consultation and also to type your questions in the chat box. Right? So now let's move on to the permutation, the combination pala. So before we move on to the combination, can I ask you or to someone to reiterate kung ano nga ulit yung permutation? So can I call on every time may question na kami na nag-leave talaga. Yvonne?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Permutation, ma'am.
Yes po. Oo.
Okay. In permutation po, the elements po are listed in a specific order. Meanwhile, yung combination po, it can be listed in any order.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. So may I ask if you remember the formula for the permutation? Amy?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes,
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
It's n factorial divided by n minus r factorial.
And what is the alternative na formula for computing the permutation?
The alternative formula is n, or the number of objects, multiplied by n minus 1, n minus 2, up until n minus r plus 1.
Okay. Thank you, Amy. Very good answer. I hope all of you were able to answer all of those, to remember all of those questions or concepts as well. Okay. Excuse me. Let's move on to the combination. So, as mentioned earlier, na remind sa inyo ni Yvonne, the R combination of an n elements is the unordered na selection of R na elements from n na elements. Okay, so it may be denoted by the combination of n taken R, and there are also other ways on how we can denote this. So it could also be n taken R, R, or in some textbooks, it's n taken R. So do not be surprised if you see some of these other notations. Okay, so let's move on. So assuming that the elements A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5 are in the set, so all three combinations of the elements are A1, A2, A3, or A1, A2, A4, A1, A2, A5, etc. Okay, a total of 10. So kumbaga, what we are looking for is C combination of 10 taken 3. All right. So each na combination cover many 3 na permutations. So for example, this A1, A2, A3 can cover several 3 na permutations. So we have A1, A2, A3, or it could be A1, A3, A2. So in other words, lahat ng possible na arrangement of a set containing A1, A2, and A3. All right? And earlier, we had this formula of permutation, right? Wherein the permutation of 5 taken R, let's say, is equivalent to combination of 5 taken R times permutation of 3 taken R. So from here, we can actually compute for the combination by just using simple math. Okay, so we just have to divide both of the sides with permutation of 3 taken 3 and permutation of 3 taken 3, and this will be canceled out, right? So this will be canceled out. And so we have the combination of 5 taken R equals the permutation of 5 taken R divided by the 3 taken permutation of 3 taken 3. Okay, sorry if it should be 3, not R. Amen. So what we are actually doing here is, diba, we are concerned with the selection of this, let's say, 3 items out of 5. Okay? So dinidivide natin siya with permutation of 3 taken 3. Kasi diba, this is N, this is R. So, na-select na siya. And then after that, we divide it with the possible na arrangement. Kasi sa combination naman, we are not concerned with the order. Okay, so we are dividing it with the possible number, the number of ways on how we can arrange. Number of ways to arrange the selected. Okay, so since we are not concerned about that. Anyway, moving on. Nagets nyo ba? So we have the combination and each na combination can cover many na 3 na permutations. So yung kumbaga, ito, counted siya isa-isa sa permutation. All of this na possible na arrangements, all of this possible na arrangement will only be counted once in the combination. All right. So we have again this formula of permutation of n taken r equals combination of n taken r times permutation of r taken r. So we simply have to divide it by permutation of r taken r, and similarly with divide it with r taken r. So this will be cancelled out. So we have the combination of n taken r equals this result. And we can derive the final na formula of this based on the formula of the permutation of n taken r and the formula of permutation of r taken r. So we know that the formula for permutation of n taken r is n factorial divided by n minus r na factorial. Okay? And divided by the r and r permutation of r taken r. So this is p of n taken r. So for the p of r taken r, so that will be equivalent to r. So kumbaga i-replace nyo lang ito siya. You just have to replace this n with r. So we have r factorial divided by r minus r na factorial. Okay? So yeah, so this is the big nan. So now mathematically we could equate this as n factorial over n minus r quantity factorial divided by r minus r quantity factorial divided by r na factorial. Oh my. No, sorry. That's wrong. So times pala r minus r factorial divided by r na factorial. So we know that this will be cancelled out, right? So maka-cancel out na siya. So we will be left with n factorial divided by r factorial times n minus r quantity factorial. So we are left with this final na formula. So which is equivalent to n factorial over r factorial times n minus r factorial. So ito na yung final na formula natin. Right? So it's basic na math and basic na algebra. So I understand, or I know that you already understand this part. Okay? So then the number of r combinations of a set with n elements then, where r is greater than or equal to n and r is greater than or equal to 0. In other words, ang ibig sabihin nito is if we have n elements, then let's say 7 elements, yung masa-select lang natin is either 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 7, right? So we cannot select beyond that or less than that, right? So yan lang naman yung ibig sabihin ng inequality. So remember this part. So ano lang yung difference kaya dito? Ano lang yung difference ng formula ng combination sa formula ng permutation? So anyone, can you spot the difference? Can you spot the difference? Anyone? Ano yung difference? Rian? So what do you think is the difference between the formula of the permutation and the derived na formula for the combination?
Ako po ba, ma'am?
Yeah, oo.
Yung sa permutation po, wala pong r factorial sa denominator.
Tama. Wala siyang r factorial sa denominator. So, why do you think na need natin na i-divide yung r factorial? It is equivalent to what? Equivalent siya sa permutation of R taken R, right? So kumbaga, since hindi tayo concerned sa arrangement or sa order, so we need to cancel those out, right? So correct. The only difference is the R factorial in the denominator. Okay? So here is another na equality here. So it is said that the combination of n taken R is equivalent to combination of n taken n minus R. So for example, meron tayong set. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we have n equals 6. So ang gagawin natin is if we are going to select, let's say 3. No. Let's make it 2. Okay? So, magsaselect tayo ng 2. So, this is basically equivalent to the combination of 6 taken 2. Okay? And it is said here that it is equal to the combination of 6 taken n minus R, which is equal to 4. Okay, since this is nr, this is n, and this is n minus r, which is n minus 2, which is equal to 4. So, bakit kaya? So, meaning, yung pag-compute, the number of ways on how we can compute for the combination of this, or combination of 6 taken 2 is equivalent to the combination of 6 taken 4. So, ibig sabihin lang nito is same yung the number of ways we can compute for these 2 na elements is equal sa pag-compute ng ways sa mga hindi na select na mga elements or yung sa complement sa set na yan. Okay? Gets pa? Complement. Nagets nyo ba yung yung complement? That are not, yung hindi part sa set na to, kumbaga. Tama? So, yung complement nito would be 2, 3, 5, 6. And that is equivalent to the combination of 6, 4. Alright? So, kung i-compute natin siya, so for instance, meron tayong combination of 6, 2. So, this will be equivalent to n factorial over n minus r factorial. So, this will be 6 factorial divided by n minus r. So, n minus r, how much would that be? 4 factorial. And the r factorial, that would be 2, right? So, 6 times 5 times 4 factorial divided by 4 factorial times 2 factorial. So, cancel this out. So, we will be left with 6 times 5 times 2 factorial, right? So, how about for the combination of 6, 4? So, this one is for the combination of R, and this one is the combination of n minus r. Okay, so we will then have, rewrite natin, n factorial, n minus r factorial times r factorial. So that will be 6 factorial divided by, in this case, we have n minus r. So that will be 6 minus 4, so 2 factorial. And the r factorial is 4, so 4 factorial. So nag-interchange lang siya. So this will also be equal to 6 times 5 times 4 factorial over 2 factorial times 4 factorial. So cancel this out. So we will be left with 6 times 5 times 2 factorial. So basically, the same ang results nila. Okay? Same yung i-compute mo dito sa mga set na sinelect and sa pag-compute sa mga hindi na select. Right? And if we, and it's also proven mathematically. So if we have a formula here of combination of n taken r, which is which you already know is equal to n factorial over n minus r factorial over r times r factorial. Yung dito naman is n minus r. So we are simply going to replace n minus r dito sa r. So n minus r instead ng r. So yung dito magiging, nakita nyo siya dito naging n. Sorry. Nope. So dito naging n minus r na siya, right? Tapos yung itong n minus naging n minus r na siya. So, if tatanggalin natin itong parenthesis, makakancel itong n minus n. So, we'll be left with n factorial divided by n minus r factorial times r na factorial. Alright? So, iyan lang yung dapat yung maalala. Okay, so now you know the formula for the combination. N factorial over r factorial times n minus r factorial. And that this also important na equality. Alright? So, yan na naman. So, these are just proof. Okay, and then you can go back to this later if you are having a difficult time understanding this. Alright? So, now let's have an example. So how many ways are there to select 5 players from a 10-member tennis team to make a trip to a match at another school? So our only concern is to select 5 players, right, from a 10-member tennis school. So we are simply going to use this formula. So we have our n here will be equal to 10 and the r will be equal to 5. Okay, so we then have C of 10 given 5 and we'll have n factorial. Sige, isa-isahin natin. So what will be the n? So that is 10 divided by the r. The r will be 5, right? And the 10 minus r, so that is 10 minus 5 factorial. And we'll have 10 factorial over 5 factorial times 5 factorial, right? And you can solve this on your own. So this will be 10 times 9 times 8 times 6 times 5 factorial. Okay, divided by 5 factorial times 5 factorial. So this will be cancelled out. All right. So now we have 10 times 9 times 8 times 6 divided by the 5 na factorial. And you can compute that in your calculators. Okay. And now about this part. So how many poker hands of 5 cards can be dealt from a standard deck of 52 cards? So we are going to select 5 hands from 52 cards. So very straightforward. The n here will be equal to 52 and the r will be equal to 5. Correct? So that's why we have combination of 52 taken 5. So this has been so we have 52 factorial for n, correct? And then the r factorial, that will be 5 factorial, and then n minus r, so that is 52 minus 5, so that's why we have the 47 factorial. And then you can now compute for the value. And we have another example here. What if instead that we are going to select na 47 cards from a standard deck of 52 cards? What do you think will be the answer? Any idea on how we can solve this one? Correct. Equal lang sila. Very good, guys. Equal lang sila. Bakit sila equal? Anong identity yung ginamit natin dito? Anong identity yung ginamit natin? What identity again? Ano nga? Yung na-prove natin kanina mahaba? So, yung identity natin na ginamit ay the combination of n taken r equals to combination of n taken n minus r. Tama ba? So in this case, we have the combination of 52 taken 5 equals to the combination of 52 taken 47. Okay, or 52 minus 5, that is equal to 47. All right, so that's why na, according to your sinagot ng mga classmates nyo, thank you Ezra and Doreen, they have the same na solution. All right, so which is also equivalent to 52 factorial divided by 47 factorial times 5 na factorial. Now, let's have another example. So a hostess is having a dinner party for some members of the charity committee. So because of the size of her home, she can invite only 11 out of 20 na members. She can invite only 11 out of 20 na members. So this is very straightforward. Kailangan na natin mag-select ng 11 out of 20. So our n will be 20 and r will be 11. Okay, so then we have 20 factorial, that is for the n factorial, divided by r factorial, that will be 11 factorial, and n minus r factorial, that will be 20 minus 11, which is equivalent to 9 factorial, and we will have 167,960. Okay, and then another example. Suppose that there are 9 faculty members in the mathematics department and 11 in the computer science department. So how many ways are there to select a committee to develop a discrete mathematics na course at a school if the committee is to consist of 3 faculty members from the math department and 4 from the computer science na department? So dalawa yung task natin dito. So as you can see here, we have the and. So magde-develop tayo ng ng isang committee. But the committee will be composed of people from different na departments. So ang task 1 will be to select 3 from 9 members from math, and the task 2 will be to select 4 from 11 na members from ComSci. Okay, so since mayroon tayong dalawang task and they cannot be done simultaneously, so magsaselect tayo ng T1 and then T2. So from this alone, we can derive that we are going to use the product na rule, okay, wherein we have the T1 times T2, right? And from the T1, the way we can solve this is to use combination, which is combination of 9 taken 3, right? Times the combination of 11 taken 4. And for each of this, you compute for the combination, right? And then we will have the final answer, which is 27,720. Right? Nagets nyo ba yung process? Bakit? Why we apply the product rule in here? Are you able to understand what this means? Okay. Hello, si Julian lang yung nakakaintindi palagi. Okay, thank you Julian for answering my questions. And thank you also Doreen. Okay, so I hope the others are are also still in the Zoom na meeting, ha? Okay. So how about for this second example? So this is similar to the previous example. Here, Lynn and Patty decide to buy a Powerball na ticket, and to win the grand prize, one must match 5 numbers selected from 1 to 49, and again, must also match the Powerball, an integer from 1 to 42. So dalawa. There are 2 na conditions in order for Dean and Patty to win the grand prize for the Powerball. And first, that is to match the 5 numbers from 1 to 49, and then to match the Powerball, an integer from 1 to 42. So may dalawa ulit tayo na task. That is T1 and the T2. Okay, and since that you have to do both of this, and as you can see here, merong and dyan. So we are going to use the product na rule. Okay, where in the T1, this is basically equivalent to combination of 49 taken 5 times the combination of 42 taken 1. Right? So since saan ba nanggaling yung combination of 49 taken 5? Kasi sinabi nito na 5 numbers from 1 to 49. And yung combination of 42 taken 1 naman is an integer from 1 to 42 inclusive. Okay? And now, let's have just, let's skip this part. Let's have, just have one more example. Okay. So how many permutations of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and with A? So we basically have, how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know that this last position already ends with A. So we are only concerned with the order of the first 6 na positions. So for the first position, there will be 6 na ways on how we can arrange. So that will from B, C, D, E, F, and G. And once we have already selected 1, so magiging 5 na lang siya. And until such time na ma-select na natin sila lahat. So this is also equivalent to 6 na factorial. Okay? So we are concerned here with the order. So this is equivalent to permutation of 6 taken 6. So note that the 0 factorial is equal to 1. Okay? Saan? Baka ma-confuse kayo dito, ha? So this P of 6 taken 6 is basically equivalent to, diba, we have n factorial over n minus r factorial. So yung 6 natin, that is the n, divided by 6 minus 6 factorial. So that will be 6 factorial divided by 0 factorial. And that is 6 factorial divided by 1. So we have 6 factorial, which is equal to 720. Okay, now let's have another example. Last na lang ito. We have 8 minutes left. So para medyo complex naman yung example. So first is, how many bit strings of length 10 contain exactly 4 ones? So meron tayong length 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what are the possible na, how many possible na bit strings of length 10 can we have? Any, do you remember how many possible bit strings of length 10 can we have? Any guesses? Excuse me. This will be 2 raised to 10. Tama. Very good, guys. It's 2 raised to 10, ones and zeros. Because this could be either 1 or 0, could be 1 or 0, and so on. Okay? So each, there will have 2 na possibilities. So this will be equivalent to 2 raised to 10. Right? So gagamitin natin yan later. Now, How many bit strings of length 10 contain exactly 4 na ones? So, are we concerned with the order here? Are we concerned with the order? Are we concerned with the order? Not really. Yung concern lang natin is whether yung bit string na length 10 ay merong exactly 4 ones. Tama? So, yung gagamitin lang natin dito ay combination. So, the combination of bit string of length 10 taken 4. Okay? Which is basically equivalent to 10 factorial over 4 factorial times 6 factorial when substituted to the formula of combination, which is n factorial, r factorial, n minus r na factorial, which is n factorial times, this is 4 factorial, and then this is 10 minus 4, which is equal to 6. Okay, so you can solve that on your own. So about at most 4 ones. So I'll ask some people if in case na meron kayong idea dito, at most 4 ones. So ano mangyayari pag at most 4 ones siya? Ano kaya yung possible na solution na pwede nating magamit? At most 4 ones. So anong ibig sabihin ng at most 4 ones? Ano kaya yan? Any guesses? At most 4 ones meaning meron tayong bit string na pwedeng walang 1 or bit string na 1 lang yung 1 niya, and there are bit string that are only 2 ones, then it could only have 3 ones, and lastly there are 4 ones. So yung combination of 10 taken 5, that is no longer included since our restriction here is bit string of length 10 containing at most 4 ones lang siya. Alright? So you notice here that instead of the product rule, we are using the addition na rule instead. Right? Kasi this cannot happen naman eh. So these are independent. They cannot happen at the same time. Tama? So you cannot have a string that both have that walang 1 at saka merong isang 1. Right? So they are independent in nature, kumbaga. So we are using the addition rule na instead. So they are different na task. Okay, so what we are simply doing is to compute for the combination of bit strings of length 10 without a 1 and the combination of bit string of length 10 with only 1 na 1 and with only 2 ones, only 3 ones, and only 4 ones. So we simply substitute that into our equations and we will have the 386. So what about for at most 4 ones? So what do you think? Paano kaya natin to isosolve siya? Ano naman kaya to? Any idea? Any idea? Anyone? Ay, madami na pala sumagot. Add yung combination of 10 taken 5 until 10 taken 10. Is that what do you think? Actually, there are similar answers, no? And yes, that is actually correct. So since na at least 4 ones siya. No, since at least 4, so it has to start with combination of 10 taken 4 until 10 taken 5. Okay, so what we can do is combination of 10 taken 4 plus combination of 10 taken 5 plus the combination of 10 taken 6 until combination of 10 taken 10. Kasi ito yung bit strings of length 10 with 4 na ones, with 5 na ones, with 6 na ones, and all ones. Okay? But that would be difficult to compute pag sobrang dami niya na. So what we can do is use the principle of complement instead. So these are all the possible na bit strings of length 10 minus the complement. So i-compute lang natin ito, yung mga bit strings of length 10 that have 0 ones, 1 na ones, 2 ones, and 3 ones, right? And then subtract that from the total number of the possible na bit strings of length 10, and that will be the bit strings of length 10 containing at least 4 ones. But you can also use this formula, okay, wherein you compute for a combination from 10 to 4 until combination of 10 taken 10, right? So for example, what if meron kayong bit string of length 100 at saka sinabi na at least 4 ones siya. So i-compute nyo ba from combination of 100 taken 4 until combination of 100 taken 100? So the fastest thing that you can do is to use the principle of complement. Okay, so now how many bit strings of length 10 contain an equal number of zeros and ones? So that will be 10 factorial divided by 5 factorial and times 5 na 5 factorial. Okay, so straightforward na lang ito siya. I guess we have to end our class here since it's already 4:01, and I have some more examples here, but you can study this on your own or we can discuss this next meeting. But I'll be giving an assignment for you that you will submit on Thursday on paper na siya, on paper. So since I'll be calling some people to answer their to post or write their solutions on the board on Thursday. So assuming na okay na ako by Thursday and that I can attend the classes and see you. Okay, so hopefully I can be there. And yeah, mag-a-announce lang ako if I can see you, but yeah, we should have a class on Thursday so we could complete this topic on combinations and permutations, and we can move on to more interesting na topics. Right? So I'll be releasing the assignment in a while, and that I hope you also have learned something from our discussion for today. Okay, so may natutunan naman ba kayo so far? Yeah. So ang hirap mag-assess ng learning, especially during online, kasi I cannot track everyone's learning curve, or kung hindi ko makikita sa itsura nyo if nagigets nyo na ba talaga siya, particularly sa mga proof earlier, and whether understandable nga ba siya or hindi. But so hopefully we could have our discussion next meeting, next Thursday, so para mas strengthen natin yung yung foundations nyo. Okay, and if you were not able to understand a topic, so feel free to email me, and so you can ask your questions. Okay, and that's all for this afternoon. And yes, I'll be uploading the recordings Although I'm not really confident with sa proof na part kasi I wanted it more to be parang mas dire-diretso siya. So naulit ko siya kanina na na i-lecture. Okay, so pipili lang ako whether for section 1 or section 2 yung i-upload ko na video. Okay, so regardless, I'll be uploading it in YouTube and you can use it to review for your quizzes and as well as for your exams. And remind me also to also upload pati yung annotated na PDF so you can also study yung mga solutions na nasulat natin sa PDF kanina. Okay? So, pero yung original na na slides have already been uploaded in LMS and it's already available for download. Okay? So, see you next week and thank you for attending the class. Okay. And thank you for participating and thank you. See you next week.